What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NFL top fives on FanDuel for week 6. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Head to Twitter, follow me at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Let me know in the comment section underneath this video who's your favorite and least favorite contenders for this week's slate. Finally, shout out to No House Advantage for being the presenting sponsor of this video. Use the promo code Awesemo when signing up. Get yourself a little bit of extra cash on that first deposit. You guys can see the defenses on the screen. Certainly not hitting on those. We're moving it on to the tight ends. We round out the bottom of my top 10 with Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz, Jared Cook, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Tyler Higbee. You can probably lump in number 5 with this group, and then we take a step up in tier. And at number 5, we've got TJ Hockenson, 6,400, so a little expensive, projected for 9.5 fantasy points. Detroit actually has a shot here. 3.5-point dogs at home, 47-point total, a Cincy defense that ranks 21st at PFF, but an 8% chance to be in the optimal. To me, he's just coming along for the ride in stacks if you need him to, or as a bringback on the opposite side of a Bengals stack. But I have 4 tight ends that I think are pretty clearly ahead of Hawk this week. The first of those tight ends is $5,800 Noah Fant. He's projected for 9 fantasy points, taking on the Raiders. 43.5-point total here. Raiders are in a bit of disarray. They have been the number 6 defense according to PFF. I don't know how that continues with no John Gruden at the helm. He's not going for a monster day. Over 25 fantasy points doesn't seem particularly likely, but a 12% chance to be in the optimal, that puts him in the double-digit tier at tight end. At number 3, we've got $8,500 Travis Kelce. Been pretty quiet so far this season. He's going to break out at some point in time. Projected for 14 fantasy points, 6.5-point favorites against the Washington football team, 54.5-point total. The Washington defense has not been what people expected it to be. Ranks just 12th at PFF right now. 7% chance that Kelce goes for more than 25. 13% chance that he is simply in the optimal lineup. Both Kelce and Fant look good, but I have got another tier. 1 and 2 are another step up. At number 2, we've got 7K Darren Waller. He's projected for 12 fantasy points. A matchup with Denver that's about average. They're 3.5-point dogs, which is interesting. They should be throwing. 43.5-point total is not totally what you want, but I do like both tight ends just in this game. This is the number 14 offense against the number 13 defense, so we're calling it an average matchup. But Waller just gets so much volume that it's hard to ignore him. 18% likelihood to be in the optimal. That was almost enough to get him to the number 1 spot. Almost. But number 1 is $6,300 Mark Andrews, projected for 11, taking on the Chargers. Average matchup, but great fantasy matchup. 51.5-point total. He had a monster day last week. We'll see if he can bring it over to week 6. 19% likelihood for Andrews puts him clean into the top spot at tight end. On to wideout now, where we have a very clear number 1 and a relatively flat 2 through 10. CeeDee Lamb, Robert Woods, Tyreek Hill, Cortland Sutton, and DJ Moore round out the bottom of that top 10. At number 5, we've got Michael Pittman. He's 5,800, projected for 11 fantasy points, and has a cupcake matchup. 10-point favorites for the Colts. 43.5-point total is not what you want from a fantasy perspective, but the number 30 ranked defense, that certainly helps. 1% chance to go for more than 25. You got to cross your fingers for that one. 16% likelihood he's in the optimal. I love Pittman as a salary-saving wideout. Speaking of salary-saving wideouts and great matchups, $5,800 Jacoby Myers is next up at number 4, projected for 12 fantasy points. 50.5-point game total against Dallas, the number 25 ranked PFF defense. That's what I'm talking about. 1.5% chance to go for more than 25, so you're not totally looking there either. But again, more salary savings. 17% likelihood that Jacoby Myers ends up in an optimal. You can use that salary savings to pay up for $8,200 Cooper Kupp, projected for 16 fantasy points. Another great matchup against the Giants. 9.5-point favorites, 48.5-point total, number 27 ranked defense. What's not to like here? 12% chance that you can go for more than 25, so you've got the ceiling. Another 17% chance he's in the optimal. Kupp and Myers, Kupp and Pittman, works out really well. Similarly, you can pay up for $7,400 Terry McLaurin. Great matchup against Kansas City. They're going to have to throw 6.5-point dogs, 54.5-point total, the number 26th ranked defense. McLaurin works as a bring-back in a Kansas City stack, or as one of the key options of a Washington stack where you're bringing back Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. Nobody's ever mad about any of those situations. 7.5% chance he's going to get 25 fantasy points. 19% chance overall that he's in an optimal lineup. That's enough to get Terry McLaurin to second, but not even close to number one. That number one wideout would be Davante Adams. I don't think anybody's surprised. He's projected for 18 fantasy points. He's in a matchup where the Packers are 5.5 point favorites. It's not the best scoring output, just 44.5 point total, but the 20th ranked defense, and Davante Adams essentially has no floor. His floor is like a median projection. This dude is just involved all the time. It feels like a rare occurrence if he doesn't get into the end zone. 24% chance to go for more than 25, 27% to be in the optimal. Very clearly, Davante Adams is my number one wideout. Quite a flat running back position this week. Nobody really separating from the pack. We do have a quite clear top three, but nothing too crazy. Devontae Booker, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, Khalil Herbert, and Antonio Gibson round out the bottom of this top 10. At number 5, we've got DeAndre Swift. 7,100 feels like a pretty big price tag, but he's got to be involved in this one. 14-point projection, taking on Cincinnati. They're only 3.5-point dogs at home, so this game should be very competitive. The 47-point game total looks good. It's not a great offense for the Lions, but number 21 ranked defense isn't anything I should worry about. 6% chance to go for more than 25, so there's a ceiling. 16% chance he can be in an optimal. That's tied for the number 4 spot. I really like getting to Swift, and I really like getting to Burrow and the pass catchers on the opposite side. Swift works great as a bring back option in a stack. From a game script perspective, this one looks good. Jonathan Taylor at number 4, 7,500, projected for 15, taking on a Houston Texans team that stinks. 10-point favorite, so you expect Taylor to have a pretty big workload in the second half. 43.5-point total isn't ideal, but still works against the number 30 ranked defense. 25 or more, 9% of the time. 16% likelihood he's in an optimal. If this game goes according to plan, Jonathan Taylor could be in for a big second half. If you need to save some salary, $5,200 Daryl Williams looks pretty good. He's projected for just under 12 fantasy points against Washington. Huge total, should get a decent workload in the second half. Number 12 ranked defense, so good but not ideal spot. It's fine, nothing crazy. You're happy with it. No Clyde Edwards-Helaire should certainly help. No ceiling here either. 2% chance to go for more than 25, but the price tag is what you're looking for here. Excellent value option. 19% chance to be in an optimal, tied for the second spot. Same first name, different player. Daryl Henderson is in at number 2, 7,300, projected for 15. Excellent spot. 9.5-point favorite, 48.5-point total against the Giants. The number 8 offense against the number 27 defense. 10% chance to reach that 25 or more ceiling. 19% chance to be in an optimal lineup. This is one of my favorite spots on the slate. Henderson is highly ranked on DraftKings, and he did enough to get to number 2 on FanDuel. But at number 1, we've got Austin Ekeler, 8,400, so you're paying up. Projected for 17. Normally, you would think this is a difficult matchup, but against Baltimore, 2.5-point underdogs, he's involved regardless of the line or game script. 51.5-point total is the key piece you want for Austin Ekeler. It's the number 13 offense, which feels a little low. It's the number 15 defense, which doesn't feel right when you talk about Baltimore, but I'm happy to say that I think they're just an average defense. 18% chance he goes for more than 25. 20% chance he's in an optimal lineup. Austin Ekeler is my number 1 contender at running back this week. Now, before we get to the quarterbacks, one last reminder to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. To head to Twitter and follow me at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Please hop in the comments section under the video. Let me know who your favorite and least favorite contenders are for this week. And finally, shout out to No House Advantage. Thank you very much for being the presenting sponsor of this video. We rounded out at quarterback, where honestly I should probably only talk about my number 1 guy because he is unquestionably the best option you can get to. Dak Prescott, Mac Jones, Teddy Bridgewater, Carson Wentz, and Justin Herbert round out the top 10. 3 through 10 might as well be the same play. You do take a step up at number 2, but it's 1 and then everybody else. At 5, we've got Kyler Murray. Tough spot, 8,400, projected for 21 fantasy points. The game total looks good at 49, but this is the number 2 defense. Cleveland is legit, but the floor for Murray, given his rushing ability, it's pretty high. 19% chance to score more than 25 fantasy points, but just a 5% chance to be in the optimal. There's a lot of quarterbacks, and one of them is in a significantly better spot. At number 4, we've got Taylor Heinicke. I love pairing him up with McLaurin this week. 7,300. Great spot against Kansas City. The number 26th ranked defense. 54.5 point total. There's going to be a ton of fantasy scoring in this one. 11% chance to score 25 or more. Just a 6% chance to individually be in the optimal. But I think Heinicke works really well as a part of a Washington football team stack that I don't think a lot of people will get to. At number 3, we've got Joe Burrow. This is my favorite stack of the day. 7,400, projected for 20, taking on the worst defense in football, the Detroit Lions. They're 32nd, 47-point total, 3 separate pass catchers, plus CJ Uzomah, plus you can go to Joe Mixon if you need to. 12% chance he scores more than 25 fantasy points. Just a 6% chance to be in the optimal individually, but I find Joe Burrow the easiest quarterback to get to this week. At number 2, we pay all the way up to 9K Pat Mahomes. He's projected for 24.5 fantasy points. It's a great fantasy matchup. 6.5 point favorites, 54.5 point total. A slightly above average defense against Washington, so nothing crazy. He scores 25 fantasy points almost 50% of the time. It's 45% right now. But individually, he's only the optimal quarterback about 10% of the time because the number 1 quarterback is in it basically always. At number 1 this week, with no one even close. I mean, Mahomes plus Burrow plus Heinicke plus Murray plus Herbert still doesn't get you to Lamar. 8,200, projected for 26.5, 51.5 point total, an average defense, a ton of potential fantasy scoring, a 62% chance to score more than 25 fantasy points, and a 38% likelihood to be in the optimal. That might come down a little bit as we get closer to lock, but he's not even in the same ballpark as any of these guys. There's no change that could possibly be made other than him not playing for Lamar Jackson to not be the number 1 quarterback. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NFL DFS top 5s on FanDuel for Week 6 in the NFL. I know I say NFL twice there, but it feels like I should be. Anyway, there's a DraftKings version of this video around here somewhere, so check it out. Good luck this Sunday, everybody. Make sure you're watching our 4 hours of coverage to start the day from 9 to 1 on Sunday. I'll have my updates in the middle of the 2 shows that I do. Good luck then. I will also have Sunday Night Football Contenders videos out Sunday morning, so keep your eyes peeled for those.